Welcome to the RVA Returners Podcast, your weekly source for all things Final Fantasy TCG. I just can't always be on. I say this every week. I said I'm not Ozzy Osbourne. I can't be perfect every time out. But you know what is perfect?
Ozzy.
Other than Ozzy, being back for another episode.
I'm actually seeing Ozzy when he comes to Virginia.
Get the hell out of here.
September.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So we know what that means. We've got guests, and we're back for the next episode of the RVA Returners Podcast. Boys, welcome back. Welcome back. Today I am joined by three special guests. We have two members of the Fredericksburg Turks. We have Curtis Kang and Stephen Arboleta. And we have a very special guest. My nips are milking right now. That's Danny Diaz from the Pocket Crew down in Pocosin. And as always, I'm your host, Chris Adams, and joining me, as always, my partner in crime, Adam Lane. Boys, welcome.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for being here. We just finished up our Soldier Showdown tournament. Curtis Kang took it, and Steven finished second. Good job.
Man, that game, I was so bad.
You still talking about it?
Yeah, man. Like, I suck.
We got cleansed by the Layla.
No, you got washed. I'll tell you. Layla took Steven to the laundromat, but we'll get into that. But you know what we like to start with around these parts? The news. First news, we haven't been on since Steven Arboleta won the LCQ up in Maryland. What was the name of the shop up there, boys?
Neverland Games.
Neverland Games. Steven Arboleta coming out on top, getting his Nationals qualifier. Not only doing that, going undefeated in Swiss, and that is Ron leaving the building and Colin. Boys, great job today. Two of the cornerstones of our community.
What a game today, man.
Colin, thanks for coming, brother.
Yeah, thanks.
Good job, buddy.
I'm close to you guys.
So yeah, two cornerstones of our community leaving the building. Both had a really good day of cards. But where I was saying, Steven actually winning his LCQ, I said not only winning the event but going undefeated the whole day. That's never easy. Playing Mono Lightning, which like literally the day before you were just like,
Scrubbing out.
yeah, I don't like this deck. I believe that was the exact noise.
Good for me. I think I'll go back to Wind Earth.
Yeah, I believe that was the exact noise you made. Man.
Man.
So how was your experience there, Steven?
It was pretty good, man. First matchup was against Ice,
Mhm.
and I thought it was Turbo for a second until they wound up playing, like, discarding an Orphan. I was pretty confused because they had, like, the Jespers and a bunch of low ground.
Ooh, loose.
Yeah, I was confused, but after I got that match all the way and took it, I was confident. I was pretty happy with myself. I took the first win, I got that out the way, and then the whole day kind of pretty much went steamrolled. I drew everything I needed. I made every optimal play I
Your
had
dog
available.
just swallow the Snickers first.
You turn into a diva when you're hungry.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. He's got nougat stuck between his teeth. Some bitch.
This nougat's so good.
It is, and hungry while wait.
I made every optimal play that I could have, and I mean, it showed. I mean, I went the whole thing. I didn't even lose a single match in top 8.
Yeah, nice. I mean, it was a great play on your end, man. What would you say your MVP of the day was?
Adea, she's a bad bitch.
Adea, you heard it here first, boys. Adea, she's a bad bitch.
Mm-hmm.
It's true.
Dude, it's just crazy when you get to, like, you have 5 backups, you pop the backup into Adea and then into an Adea special. The Adea's the new rated, bro.
That's the equivalent of Cash Money taking over for the 9-9 in 2000. I'm pretty certain. Pretty certain. So great job to you, Steven. And speaking of LQs, we got like the official news on the last chance qualifier at Nationals. Turns out it's a hidden Crystal Cup. It is the Dark Crystal Cup. And, I think the biggest thing come out of that is, two things. The first thing is, if you're already qualified, you can't play in.
I'm a little sad, but I understand.
Right.
I just want the box.
Right, and that was leading to the box for this one is Sephiroth, which I know I don't really care so much about. Granted, I want the box because I'm kind of collecting them all. But like Sephiroth's a very popular character, and it's just something that people want and they enjoy. But the big thing about not being able to play if you're already qualified, I like that because it does make it like a true last chance qualifier, and that's huge. The other big thing there is I know a point of contention where it was people were kind of upset that it was recently disclosed that it was an a Crystal Cup. Right. First, it was this whole time it had just been kind of advertised as a last chance qualifier event. And I know that's kind of gotten some people up in a
I
bunch.
think
Like,
it's fine.
I agree.
I mean, what's the
The
difference?
only,
It's just got a different title.
I think the only thing that anybody could be salty about is that you can't just get the box if you want
Well,
it.
that I'm glad you said that too, because it is a Crystal Cup, but the winner does not get 3 buys.
Yeah.
Like the other Crystal Cup winners. do.
Oh.
So I know people were pretty upset about that too. But
Hmm.
yeah, but also too, but if you're already there for Nats, you can get the box for playing side events and making top 32 apparently.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
okay.
you can get the separate box. Top 32 gets separate box advance, and then any of those side events, if you like win, I think you get the box.
Yep, and keep in mind they have gotten closer to the event. If you are not qualified, you cannot go into the arena for Nats. You can't go into the venue when the tournament's going on, which is a shame. So I mean, for those people that like myself, I am. Hopefully, I'll be able to finish things up in PA next weekend, but I'm still flying out there for the LCQ, and if I don't win that, I'll be upset that I can't go into the tournament, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to hang out.
Yeah.
I'll be sitting right outside the door, all pouty faced, watching it on stream.
Worst place to be in than LA, right?
Right, exactly. Oh no, I'm in LA for the weekend. Oh no, poor me, right?
If you didn't make it, I'd be okay as long as Kageyama personally kicked me off the venue.
Oh man, yeah, I want to walk in and have him like kind of like Fresh Prince, like jazz me just out the front door. I'd be really excited about that.
That's a story.
Oh, it'd be the best. It's for podcast gold is what I look for these days, boys.
Yeah, we're trying to get banned. So we're trying to get Square Enix to ban us from future events.
Oh no, not when you have. I got my glasses with the nose and mustache.
They won't even know it's
they
you.
won't. I'm telling you, it works every time. But yeah, so that's really the big news coming out of like the entire community. But when we start talking about communities, one thing we're working on here coming up as just as a state, all the stores are going to the 3 big stores I should say are going to get together. We want to do a community day where we do demos. I'm going to be building some pauper decks just to give out to people, just because it's a good way to get rid of some bulk, and you can make pauper being a very unexplored format, you can make some pretty relatively competitive decks out of those commons and rares. So giving those out to people who are curious about the game, having promos to give out, maybe doing a little funsy tournament that's free to enter with some
I know
prizes.
we were talking about like having the good players do gunslingers and like giving the people like foils.
Oh, that's actually a good idea.
Yeah.
I think that would be fun. You just get like random foils.
I volunteer to be the scrubness.
Yeah, that's fine. You're in. Welcome aboard. Well, drop your pants and meet your coworkers.
What?
You're in. But yeah, so that's going to be a fun thing because we're always looking to grow the community here, and we have people that are on the fence. And I think having a day where we can kind of just celebrate the game and have people who are, maybe they're not as good, and allowing them to kind of compete on a level playing field where people like us are kind of sitting out. And we're going to do some gunslingers. We're going to do some demos. We really want to entice people to come, and then. If they want to start playing competitively, we'll just put Curtis in front of them and let him slap him into shape real quick. Cobra Kai Dojo. But that's right.
Sweep the leg.
That's right. We sweep the leg around these parts. And speaking of sweeping the leg, Curtis, you took home the Soldier Showdown today. I keep wanting to call it the Soldier Series, but it's the Soldier Showdown.
I like that better.
I do too. It was a showdown, a battle of ages, except for the grand finals where somebody got taken to the laundromat.
Why you gotta say it like that? I'm sensitive.
I know you are.
I'm sensitive.
But that's okay. So you guys, the 3 of you, Adam and I sat out today. We had 21 people. We sat out to do commentary. So thank you for everybody who actually tuned in and listened. We had some, we actually had some killers in the chat. Sam Prime was in there, Cody was in there, Okimoto. I believe Rice Fields was hanging out in there. RB was hanging out for a little while. And if you were in there and I didn't mention your name, I'm a turd. But thank you for watching. We appreciate that. We had friends telling friends. But it was a good event. We had 5 rounds of Swiss with a top 8 cut, and all 3 of you, actually, Stephen, Curtis, and Danny, all 3 of you made top 8. I guess we'll start with you, Danny. How'd you do today? How was your record? What were you playing? The whole 9. You know the drill.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was actually considering playing Ice Wind Moogles. So this list that came out of, I think it was like one of the Master Series over in Japan.
Sure.
And I just took out the Chocobo package. That's too complicated for me. And I put in some more aggressive cards, fit my style. And then this morning I was like, well, didn't really get the reps in.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So let's play something tried and true. So I took out Scions out of retirement.
Of course. Good deck.
The deck that I won qualifier over in Yorktown.
Oh, yeah, I remember. I remember all too well.
Yeah, so I said, yeah, we'll go with this one. Went 3-0-1, 3-1-1 in Swiss. Right?
Yep. Because keep in mind, we because we don't have the software, we didn't have it set up to where we let draws count for a point. It's fine. It's no big deal.
Right on. So yeah, I felt like I was pretty comfortable throughout the day. My only loss in Swiss is to Hunter.
Mhm.
He just controlled the board really, really well, as he does.
Mhm.
And then first match in Top Cuts was against Steven. And we had some nail biters of the game, man. I gotta say.
My only loss in Swiss was to Danny, game 1.
Mm-hmm.
And so then we go into our top match, and the first match was really close. I mean, he had me at 5. I mean, I had him at 5, and I look again every time I play him, it looks like I have most of the control of the board for the most part, and then he just does a random play that just sweeps me by the legs and takes it over. But,
The one that I'm not gonna forget is you drop a Stinian. Right, I had 2 cards in hand. I don't think I had 4 on board. And he's like, all right, we're going to go to combat. And I just had just enough CP to cast the Ramu and then finish off the Stinian with the Alpha Nod ping. And that saved me a turn. I drew a Hasty Boy next turn, got that one. Game 2 was very close, and then Game 3, you were pretty in control of that one. But great series, man. Great little matches. Yeah, today was fantastic, man. Turnout was great. We had killers all over the place.
Yeah, we were saying there was 5 qualified players in this tournament. You know, the 3 of you. You had Hunter, and then you had Spencer.
That's right.
So we were sitting when a quarter of the field are nationals qualified players. You know you're going to have a good tournament. So moving right along, Steven, how'd you do today?
Yeah, my only loss in Swiss was to Danny.
Welcome.
And then me and Curtis, we ID'd the game, but we still played it out.
Sure.
And the match was very one-sided. I went into this finals pretty confident. I was like, all right. I swept them before. I'm gonna do it again. No,
not today.
Not today.
It was pre-planned.
He got the best of me. He gave me my hopes up in Swiss just to knock me down in the finals.
He had to keep you in check. He had to check you. He had to Rick James, Charlie Murphy. He had to.
Yeah, but my match pretty much was against Scions. Afterwards, I played against DGS.
Mm-hmm.
That match was really grindy just because I didn't play any backups. It was just forward and keeping cards at hand and kind of timing what I'm doing with my ETBs.
Sounds about right.
Afterwards, I don't remember the rest of my matches after that pretty much until I played Curtis and made the top cut. But I think I did pretty well for the most part.
Yeah, finished second. Got that nice little Moogle plush, which I know y'all switched like immediately. Like Curtis wanted the plush, you wanted the bust.
So in the car, I'm like, I want the bust. He's like, I just want the plush. I was like, well, whatever. We'll win it all, and then we'll just swap.
Turns out you were right. You were right. So great job today, man. Curtis, the champ, big dog. How'd you do?
I did pretty well.
We know how you did.
Yeah.
But tell those who didn't hear, witness it. We're here to witness it.
Yeah. So let's see. I don't even remember what I really played against today. I know I lost to Danny in Swiss. It was my only true loss. And then everything else is a blur. I just remember Datalumas and Zidanes and Walls.
So
and,
many Datalumas.
Yeah, so many Datalumas.
Well, we'll say one thing too. We noticed we feel like you're not playing Earthwind unless you flip a Star Sybil on EX Burst. It happened every game at least once.
Oh yeah, I play through them. And,
it's the bane of my existence, clearly, but without fail, every game. And then I think you got triple Cactar more times than I've ever seen happen with anybody.
Yeah, and then against Hunter in top 4, he hit me twice and it was like double Star Sybil.
Oh, I saw.
Yeah.
Oh, we watched that. Oh, we definitely saw that for sure. But it sounds like you had a good day of cards overall. All 3 of you guys. Congrats on top 8. What did y'all think? Did y'all enjoy the tournament?
Oh,
so we definitely want to do this on a monthly basis. Have cool prizes like that. Really just give it back to the community.
Yeah, I mean, this tournament was like so much fun, and like I love coming down here, like to play in any event that you guys host, especially like title format or like, this or just the regular weeklies.
Yeah, we appreciate that. Now, one thing I do want to mention, it didn't cause an issue, but we allowed, since again it goes back to the tournament software. We didn't really have it. Like, we used whatever software Battlegrounds has. Shout out to Battlegrounds for hosting this tournament today. And we allowed for intentional draws. Now, here's the thing. In the rules, in the comprehensive rules, it says nothing about double loss. It says nothing about a draw being no points. And also, this isn't an official sanctioned event. But also, at the same time, too, I didn't want to make anybody upset if in the rules it was like, hey, a draw is a double loss, but it says it nowhere in there. So thankfully we're okay, because I want to try to keep it as fair as possible, because what we were starting to get, and this is what happens in any card game tournament, you get people in the later rounds that are, they're undefeated. They can draw their way into top 8 at this point, or into the top cut. It happens at every. You're naive to think that it doesn't happen in every other card game on planet
Square
Earth.
likes to do the double loss, because you can't do that. They
Sure.
also don't allow you to concede.
Yeah.
You can't. They will not.
It's true.
Square event, they will not allow you.
Exactly. And granted, too, and the main reason, there were a couple people, and they weren't upset about it, but if it because the top 8 was actually pretty clean when you look at the
Yeah,
standings.
I mean,
Seemed that way.
I think we already kind of knew what it was going to look like at the end.
Mhm.
And it did make me a little uncomfortable, but at the same time, like, it was already done the round previously. So
Yeah, and I want to make sure that, maybe in the future, and this is something me is, I don't really run events that often, that if we're going to allow it, we disclose that up front. Because, again, it's not an official sanctioned event. And, draws are bound to happen. That's why we gave the extra time in each round, too, to prevent that from happening. So maybe in the future, we'll mention something like that. Or next time, we'll just say, hey, just like official square rules, you draw, it's a double loss. Yeah. So, again, I don't think nobody was upset, but it was brought up a couple times. I want to make sure that, for those who did bring it up, that, I want to have everybody's best interest at heart, because, this is supposed to be a fun community. We're not looking to grind people out of things. We're not looking to scum people out of things. We want people to come play this game and have a good time. So I guess I just want to say I just apologize if it ruffled anybody's feathers. Not that it ended up not being a big deal, but if it ends up being a big deal in the future, or something that's a takeaway someone maybe got from this tournament, like, oh, I could just draw my way in the top. We'll evaluate that for the next one and make sure that either A, we just close it up front, or we just don't allow it. So. That's all. So polio blanket's coming off. I put it on. I put it on without letting anybody know. I was over by the fire this whole time. You fools.
Mine's been on this whole time.
Oh, this guy, and I'm glad it's on, because we're moving on to you, Danny. You are kind of the focal point of this podcast. We have other than Adam Duncan, like, you're the only Pocosin, Hampton Roads player that's been on our podcast, and that hurts. Like, that hurts. It gets me right here. And I couldn't think of a better way to start than doing a player spotlight on Danny Diaz. So I'm doing my best Cody Snodgrass impression here. I'm just going to ask you a few questions. You just kind of going to shoot the shit next to the fire, man.
Sounds good.
Is your blanket comfortable?
Yeah, we're comfy, man. We're good.
Love that. So tell us, how'd you get into the game? When did you get in the game, and what is it that got you into it?
Sure. So started playing right after the release of Opus 2. Never actually heard of the card game, right? Funny that. I remember I was actually into Hearthstone, and my brother, who's a big Final Fantasy fan, I am too, but he's like the Final Fantasy guru, came into my room one day. He was like, hey man, Final Fantasy is TCG? And I said, no, I don't. And he said, you want to try it out? There's a store pretty close to us that carries stock. And I looked at him, I was like, no. And he goes, well, why is that? And I said, well, TCGs, man, they're expensive, you got to collect, you need space for them. I was like, look, Hearthstone, digital, everything right there in the computer. But sure enough, he was like, let's just go check it out. I really want to check it out. So I went to the store, bought a couple starter decks. I remember I went home that day, I bought the 10 starter deck. He had the 13 one. And
sounds like he's already outvalued you.
Yeah, right? But I remember I got like the Riku and the Pain and the Yuna out there, and that was pretty fun. But loved it. Went back the next day, I said, Vince, what do you got? He said, I got a box of Opus 1 and Opus 2. I said, I'll take it. And that was the humble beginnings. I remember there was only maybe 4 or 5 of us at Pocket that would play pretty continuously, and I got my ass kicked pretty hard the first few months, because those guys were playing since launch. But I learned a lot, and just love this game. I love this game, and I love this community.
Get back on what you said on there, because I remember my own roommate wanted to get me into the game, and I was like, nope, I'm not doing it. I know TCGs. I know how I am with hobbies. Right. I'm not sinking this to 20s, and then you just play the game once.
Game's addictive.
And you're just stuck.
It is. It really is. So yeah. Never played a game of Hearthstone after that. I'll tell you that much.
Really nice. It hurts Adam. Yeah, I can feel him like doubling over there.
It's a time waster for me.
Oh,
I'd rather play Final Fantasy.
Oh man, me too. If they ever had other than Octagon, if they ever had like a digital version of this game, man, I'd be in like a dirty shirt. So Danny, what is when you talk about like your favorite deck to play? Like let's back that up a little bit. What is your play style? Do you like to play more control-y games, more like tempo-based? Are you an aggressive player? Like, what style of deck revs your engine? And then that's going to lead into what has been. I guess this is kind of a two-part question. What style do you like to play, and what has been since you've been playing the game? What has been your favorite deck to play?
Yeah, that's a hard question, because I try to play a little bit of everything, right?
Sure.
I try to increase my card IQ by seeing a little bit of everything. But
you heard that? You hear that here? That's how you do it.
The deck that was my first baby was mono water, and I call it really slow water because it was like summon heavy. We're taking like 3-4 points of damage before we're coming back, right? Yep. That was kind of my thing up until I Opus 4, and then I jumped on the ice train because that 6 engine was just real good.
Turns out.
Yeah, I think my first run with you guys was at the Cafe Cup.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was playing the mono ice. Really enjoyed it. So I kind of lean towards a more control style. I like to play a little slow. I like to get my backs going. I don't sweat the first few points of damage. And then, with this release here, Scions is really, really good. Now, the thing that I think is key with any deck is you have to be able to match anybody's tempo.
Absolutely.
Right? So the thing with Scions is you can kind of go, hyper aggressive, we can go mid range. I got cards in there that'll go control, so it very much fits my playstyle. So definitely been digging that. But with that being said, after the qualifier in Yorktown, I've just been having lots of fun, man. I've just been grabbing cards from Opus 1 that nobody really knows about. I'm like, let's build a deck around that.
Love
see how
that.
goes.
Absolutely love that.
I think last week I was jamming Genesis, Avatar, and Lich as a board wipe. Just giving that a shot. Things like that. But just trying to see lots of different cards. Yeah, I think that helps.
Nice, nice. So since you like to look at a lot of different cards and play a lot of different deck styles, if you had to pick one card as your favorite, what's your favorite card in this game?
Oh man, one card.
You only pick one. If you had to pick the card that's like, like I love Sabin, Adam loves Urianger. I don't know what Curtis likes. Steven loves Adia.
Hey, I didn't even have to tell him. He knew.
Oh, I just know this stuff. If you had to pick the one card that just revs your engine, what is it?
It's probably Heroic Ash.
Yeah,
like
damn
that
good
card
card.
a lot.
I'm a big fan.
Even before Wrestler came out, I was like, man, this card can do everything.
Yeah.
This card can do everything.
It hoses up the the ice matchup, great against Al Cid.
It plays into the fact that I really like 12. And I have a funny story about Toronto, my Toronto experience actually.
Yeah, you were part of that.
It really plays into the whole Ash thing. So I was going to be running, I think it was Mono Lightning. And then the morning of the tournament, well, the night of, I had a dream. And it had something to do with Final Fantasy 12 I don't really remember. And I woke up and I was like, we're jamming Mono Water because I think Ash is in this dream. And sure enough, 3 of Ash. So that's what I ended up running. And then that Audible almost paid off for me pretty well, but yeah, Ash, always been there. It's like, we'll attack, we'll activate ourselves, first strike. Go ahead, choose me with something. I love it.
Well, she is a fox, that's for sure.
That's
you could have worse dreams about characters.
That is a way to put it.
So would you say also 12 is probably your favorite Final Fantasy game? Or do you have a... There's one, if you had like a Desert Island game, you had whatever system you need to play it, you can only have one. What is your Desert Island Final Fantasy?
It's actually probably 10.
That's fine.
And,
it's a good story. Get you right
really,
here.
Yeah, it really happened. I've been playing Final Fantasy since I was really young, but a lot of the older games, I think I was too young to really appreciate.
That's understandable.
Right?
That actually happens a lot.
Yeah, so like 7, for example. Like I have lots of images in my head of playing 7, but I don't really comprehensively remember it very well. 10 was the one that I think I was old enough to like actually play through it. And of course, I had the cutscenes, the voice acting.
The laugh, the tightest laugh.
But 10 and 12 really stand out for me, for sure.
Nice. Nice. So obviously you've qualified for Nationals, lest we all forget. Have you been testing? Have you been looking at different decks? I know Adam was saying that you're on Octagon like quite a bit, like a few nights a week, just really jam. And it shows in your play that you get the looks, you have the reps. What I don't know if you don't want to divulge your secrets, go ahead. But have you? Actually, I'll ask it more open ended. Have you been testing various decks for Nationals?
Yeah, so I have been experimenting a lot. Wanted to get really serious for these qualifiers.
Sure.
Right, so I picked what I consider pretty serious. Economic Signs right up there. Since then, it has been I need to try a little bit of everything.
Sure.
And I need to go on Octagon and play with just tons of different people. Thankfully, I have 3 or 4 guys that go to Pocket down there in Recursion that they're always trying to jam on Octagon too. So since Opus 6 came out, I would say I've been putting in more hours getting those reps in than ever.
Sure.
It's because there's stakes now, I'm not trying to fly to the other side of the country and scrub out real hard. We're not trying to do that. So.
That's absolutely smart. That's the way to do it. This is a lot of like this. I think. While I think the attendance is small. There's no thinking there. The attendance is definitely smaller than it was last year. But I think the competition is going to be much better this year. I think people like the good that comes with having to grind out these qualifiers is that you have to earn your spot to go this time, as opposed to we don't have enough people. First people that sign up get to go.
That's really weird.
Yeah, now it's like the players who were there had to earn that spot. So you're not going to just walk in and walk over anybody. Like you're going to from round 1 to the finals, you're gonna be in just a knockdown, dragged out slobber knocker with everybody you're playing against. Especially if everybody starts, if people while they're testing kind of come to similar conclusions, right? Like this is one of those chances where you could have a Magic Pro Tour style moment where, like, what if half the field comes to the realization that, well, just for example, Ice Water Vikings is the best deck in the format, and now you've got to play 7 rounds of that shit. Like, it's very, very possible that happens, or they all come to the conclusion, Mono Lightning's a safe bet. You play that shit 5 rounds in a row, or you play Mono Ice 5 rounds, and you know what I mean? Like, this could potentially happen there because you're not like, this is an event where people are not just going to be experimenting and playing something janky. They're going to be playing something they have tested. It's locked, it's loaded. So, like, I think this is huge, and just from a competitive standpoint, like we're going to start seeing like kind of like a format where you've got 5 decks. If you're not playing one of these 5 decks or something,
I think there's gonna be a lot of surprises at Nats. I really do. I think a lot of people are gonna be coming with like they're gonna be testing weird stuff.
I mean,
Sure.
Gen Con was an indication, right?
Yeah.
A couple surprises.
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, no one's expected Final Fantasy 2.
No. But
Yeah.
but people were talking about that engine, like the Furion Sid 2 was kind of that's where people were looking at, and that's kind of as far as they got. Like,
Right.
how do I put the rest of this together? And what's his last name, Steven?
Walker.
Wellsbacher.
Yeah, I heard the story about the. Yeah, I heard you saying his name wrong and keep
I called
on.
him his brother.
Oh, you called him his okay.
Yeah, so I called him Jordan Wellsbacher.
Yeah,
when I was
he
like,
just
talking to
Devin,
Devin in
yeah.
the interview. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Wellsbachers put that deck together pretty primo, and I think that deck caught a lot of people off guard. So I agree. I think there will be a deck at Nationals or 2, but the thing is, they're not going to be jank.
Yeah.
They're going to be well-oiled machines, and everybody's got to kind of be on that same level.
I don't think it's gonna be jank. I just think there's gonna be surprises.
Sure.
Well, everything's kind of jank up until it's not, right? Like,
I'll
I'm sure
tell
the
you,
first iteration of that 2 deck, they were like, "This is just janky. Like, we don't want these
Mhm.
colors in here," and then it performed.
the Mambo they took, like, no, I didn't see that coming. What took it last year?
Mm-hmm.
I would low to the ground fast.
Well, I think what happens is, like, a lot of decks in this game kind of have that Moneyball Syndrome where they look like shit on paper.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, what is this 50-card pile? But then when you start playing the game, you're just like, oh, wow, that all works together. That just flows very, very well. And there's a lot of that in this game. And I think a perfect example of that is the DGS Turbo deck. You're like, how does that work? That just seems like it slows the deck down. Nope. Turns out it makes it exponentially better.
It's actually been really interesting seeing the evolution of Ice going into
Mhm.
Turbo and then into the DGS list. Like, I remember at the beginning, I was like, oh, look, they're not running accessors anymore because he's too slow, and it just like slowly just changed. It's current
Then you
form.
start to see, like, locks. Like,
Yeah, locks got
and,
dropped.
I was talking the other day about, I really want to make Fire Ice a thing, but I think the 6 package is not good enough in that archetype anymore.
I mean, look at JFB's list.
Yeah, that's a perfect example. Freeman Birch's newest list, nary a 6 card in
No
there.
Saban in there at all.
No Saban.
Which is crazy.
I don't think it has Setzer. I don't think it has
There's no
Lock
6
either.
cards.
Yeah, there's no 6 cards at all.
Wow.
Yeah, it's all just like pingy burn stuff. The top end has
Nidhogg.
like Renoa, Nidhogg, Camlanot. Like, it's the build is very different, and just this, it's I know we had talked about the 6 engine. Like, we were like, oh, it'll never be bad. It's not bad, but turns out it's not as optimally as
It's
it used
still
to
good.
be.
I mean, look at Hunter today.
Well, sure.
Hunter was running the full Monty basically.
Well, I think it's the backbone of Tempo Ice, but I
You're
think
starting to see a cut from there too. A lot of lists are running like just Celis.
yeah. And I'm gonna ask you guys too, and I know I mentioned it in the tournament today. All the ice builds are still running 3 Allstain, even the Tempo. With Vikings being what it is in the meta, is Sid Allstain good enough to be in that deck still?
I think
Because
yes.
how often are
can
you
s-
really going to get it
You can
off?
set up a Flan turn pretty easily.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Flan with one other discard card in your hand with like 4 or 5 backup setup, you're still gonna still
Mhm.
stay in them.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't have to run 3, but
Mhm.
yeah, I think he's still in there.
Sure.
And even with like Turbo, with like the Jesters.
Well, he's Turbo. That's the
Yeah.
best deck for him.
Yeah, because
hands
like
down.
even with like Turbo, like even if they have a bunch of Vikings, you can like basically make it not even a factor because if they draw off the Viking, you just make them get rid of it, and then you can still do the same thing. So I mean, it's still a good card. I don't think every deck should be running 3-0 right now if everyone starts playing like Vikings, like
Mhm.
back to back. But right now, I think you need it for everything else.
Sure. And Danny, what do you think going into Nationals? Is there? I know we kind of talked about this in our Cactar correspondence. What if there is anything you could think is maybe like a surprise or something you think is just going to maybe dominate the tournament from a numbers standpoint, what do you think it's going to be?
In terms of like popularity,
Yeah, like if you were to see like a meta breakdown, what do you think is going to be like the top of that list?
probably Vikings.
You think so?
Honestly, it would be Viking X.
Sure.
Become his own little archetype. I like to do it in ice water, but like what Curtis playing today.
Mhm.
His deck was fine without the Vikings, and I think I just like put it over the top, keep it there. So much pressure, so much resource generation.
Yeah, and there were times where I felt like, Curtis, you had awkward hands where you had to play something because you had too many cards in your hand.
Oh yeah, I get that problem all the time with the deck.
First world problems, am I right?
Yeah.
First place problems.
So
Hashtag.
I think we're going to see people try to make that work the most and get the most value out of that. I've been trying to make that medical. I'm jamming those 5 Emperor and like everything I'm running now.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to stop that a little bit. But yeah, we'll see Vikings.
Ice Emperor.
Ice Emperor.
Oh,
Anytime they draw a card, yeah.
I was
that's
trying to
the
figure out
dog
what he's
face.
talking about. But yeah, Opus 5.
Which could be good because
Honestly, Sid Randall's very good against them too.
Yes, so actually the deck that I've been running for fun was kind of Taxes, where I've been doing Sid Randall and Remedy. Because that'll blow that out of the water.
Yeah, I mean, just Sid Randall alone, like, hey, you want to pay 4 for your Viking, or do you want to pay like 3 for your crappy 1K Viking?
Yep.
And now you can't, like, if you don't, you can't block the next turn.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So-
you can lose the draw out of it. Yeah.
And that was my mindset going into Gen Con with it because I knew Vikings were going to be big. And it actually turned. I actually looked back through the matches. I went 4-2. Every match I dropped Sid Randall, I won.
Yeah, I think it's really cool what the Vikings are doing to the meta, actually. When you're
Yeah.
seeing people play cards like Balfour, the 2 CP,
Yeah.
and Orlando.
And they're also playing cards that deal with recursion like Inuo and Mono
I
Lightning.
feel like more people need to be running those.
I think I was like saying today. I think, and I don't know. We're going to do it again. I think some of the best cards you could be playing right now are Green Mage or the White Mage, Grace Felgar,
Yep.
and Inuo. Things that stop recursion is so strong right now in this game with cards like Agito running around, cards like Layla getting those Vikings back, cards like Gal, cards like Lena. The break zone has become such a legit extension of this game now. It's no longer just a dead zone for cards, and then now they're starting to realize that, so they're printing these cards that just remove that all from the equation. And I think a lot of decks, if they get Graceful Guard, they're done. They're just done.
Mhm.
And I think Una Chaos is really strong helping against that too, because if they don't hit the break zone, can't recur it.
So
So,
those Archfiends is crying in the corner right now.
oh, absolutely.
But yeah.
Which is why I like the Viking package in Earthwind.
Yeah.
You get to play Unit as well if you have to.
Yeah, because then you also have stuff like but you have so much more recursion, right? You have Layla, you have your Minphilias, you have Miners, you have, there's so like that deck is, or that style of deck is just the poster child for all of that recursion that I was talking about.
Yeah.
So it's good, like it's really really good, and there's a lot of that going on.
All those cards you mentioned too, White Mage in particular, is a little gem, man.
Hmm.
Being able to fizzle an ability like a Zemus or the Layla or any of that.
Oh yeah,
For
just being able,
almost nothing.
yeah, and you can just do it on reaction. Just like, oh cool, you wanted to get that? Nope. It reminds me of the Phantom Zone projector from the old Versus game, where
Yeah.
they would pick a card from their break zone, or discard pile, you would tap it and say, no, remove that from the game. Really strong, really strong. But what we're gonna do here, this is gonna be a shorter episode. They're rushing us out of the store. They close at 8. We're gonna make a couple last second announcements.
Well, I mean, like, the first thing I want to say, too, since we got Danny on, because
Yeah.
I remember our first
Oh,
match.
dude, yes. We always do this. So we've heard Adam's side of the 45-second stare down or 45-minute stare down. I have yet to hear that from your side. Like, it comes up quite a bit that the Kefka Cup Finals,
Mhm.
I think we were both tired.
where
Yeah, I was
because you played like a 3-hour
heard this
set
story?
against
Yeah, I
Hunter
heard
in
so.
top
Yeah.
4.
Yeah, that was
So
a brutal one, too.
your batteries were empty. Like just you were running on fumes at that point. But obviously you're sitting there. Like you look at your cards, you look at Adam. You look back at your cards, you look at him. Adam's just looking at his cards, like just doesn't
Well,
look
he
up.
had passed to me, but I didn't realize he had passed me. So I thought he was, like, trying to figure out what he was doing in his main, too.
Mhm.
So, like, I'm staring, trying to figure out what my answers are, and I guess every time we were, like, looking up at each other, we didn't, like,
It was like one of these. Whoop, whoop.
yeah,
It's
like
like one of
that.
those romantic comedies where like she
And
goes on
then
the bus.
It wasn't
Mhm.
until Chris was, like, sitting there, Chris was like, whose turn is it?
Yeah, I literally had to I had to stop.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, please, by all means.
Well,
I was gonna just rant again how just insane that
for a
was.
second, I was trying to figure out exactly what you guys were talking about, but now I remember. So, I mean, first off, I'm fatigued, right? That was my
Yeah.
first big tournament
Oh
in
yeah,
terms of like the time length, right? And yeah, you're right. The leading up to you had to play.
the top 4 against Hunter Nance was
Ridiculous
like a
against
3-hour
Hunter.
match. Like I was ready to beat my head against the door because we were both playing mono. You were playing mono ice. He was playing mono water like dudes, which is that deck is super slow anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, I remember. So I'm already fatigued. And I passed the turn. I thought it was pretty audible, but I guess not. But I remember I'm sitting there, and you know, I was like, oh wow, like a break. This is really nice. You know, we're just chilling. And when you said what you said, I was like, yeah, I did pass the turn. But also, I mean, I was just so tired. Like, and also, I'm a really nice guy too. It's like you take as much time as you need to, and you know, to get what you need to do done. So I wasn't gonna rush you or anything. So we could have sat there all night.
You almost did. Turns out you almost
we
did.
almost did.
Yeah, because I wasn't gonna like call because it was on time, so like I was gonna let him take time too. And I hadn't drawn my cards for turn because I didn't know it was my turn.
Yeah.
And I didn't notice that too. I could have swore he was like.
And I came in after that. Like you must have been like, you must have just said it. I felt like I walked in after you drew your cards. You had a few cards in your hand. Like it's not like you had like if you had one card in your hand, it'd be like okay.
And that's the thing. He's like looking at them, like looking up. Like he's thinking. That's what I thought. I was like, this man is thinking. Like we're
yeah,
having some
and
hard
you
games right now.
Yeah, and but like when you would look at like after a while, you would look at him like you had that look in your eye like. I wonder what he's going to do. What's he going to play? What do I have? Then you look at your cards like, all right, do I have a response for what he could play? And then you look back down. Then he would look up, and then he would just like look at you, wait for something. Oh, yeah. He'd look back down when you looked up. Like it was just
like Scooby Doo.
It was insane.
Yeah, I'll never forget those matches actually because I remember. Oh man, I remember we had some missed triggers
with Dodaluma.
Yeah. And then I was reminded that Dodaluma should have been pinged like 3 times.
Yeah, but we didn't realize at the time that was a May.
And so with that being said, actually, so if it's an auto trigger and then it's missed by the controller,
so you can miss a May.
Yeah, you can't. Mandatory triggers, you have to do your best to go back to the point where that trigger happens and activate that.
So yeah, we didn't know at the time, but yeah.
I think I just scooped that 2 forwards, and I was like, well, this should have happened. So
like the best example I use for that, like say legendary Steiner, if you're at 3 damage, he comes in and you don't draw a card. 3 turns later, if both of you remember that, you can draw that card then, which seems kind of loose because like I need a card in my hand, that can lead to some scummy plays, but if both players miss it, then that's both players' fault, so you get the card at that point. It's really weird.
But no, every time I've played Danny, it's been really good.
They all have had nothing but like really like highlight real quality
we met, like,
matches.
4 times now in tournament, something like that.
Well, I think I really failed, and I definitely didn't give you great games at Virginia Beach. I remember that one. You had my number that day, but it's always been in such a great series against you, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, like that's the thing about this. That's what I like, especially about the people sitting in this room. Like the competition just keeps getting better and better. Like we raise the bar on each other every time we play. And I was just saying, Steven's another great example. Who, like 2 weeks ago, I was like, get your head out of your ass, man. Like, but you did. Not only
I don't show up all the time. I only show up sometimes.
Dude, not only did you you took a deep breath, like the deepest you could take. Bent over, just removed your head from your ass, and just have been just on a tear lately. Keep it up, man. Like, you've been killing it.
He's finally back in form.
That's what matters.
I mean, that loss against Curtis, I don't know, might have put me back down in my gut.
No, you're fine, man. You're fine. You got the bust that you won. That's what matters.
You know what? True.
Yeah. But I think the last announcement we're going to have before we wrap it up is if you were watching our event today, I don't know if you saw a slide. Hey, Jason. Hey, what time is it?
T-shirt time. T-shirt time.
That's right. It's T-shirt time. You can go to Teespring at a pretty obnoxious URL, but we have
I'll post it on the Facebook page.
Yeah, please do. We'll post it on the Facebook page, but we have our RVA returners, Blitz Tech Windmill Slam Saban T-shirt. If you were at Gen Con, you saw us wearing it. If you watched the stream today, you saw that we were advertising. It is live on Teespring. It's $15. I think it's the best $15 you can spend, in my opinion.
I second that.
See, that's 2 votes. So, this will hopefully be the first of many pieces of merchandise. We want to start getting the returner mats out there as soon as we find a cost-effective way to do that. I've already got the idea for the next T-shirt. Man, turns out resting Nance face was a really, really good. That's a really good hashtag. That might be the hashtag resting Nance face. That's the name of the episode today, boys.
I'll appreciate that.
I don't know if I can do that to Hunter.
I think you can. He's a good sport. He can take it. They were calling he's now Duke Largus Hunter Nance in the future, according to Cody.
Oh, yeah, Cody was saying that in the chat the whole time.
Oh my god. Duke drops the Duke.
He does. The Duke drops the Duke. Yeah, man. But no, it was a great time today. Thank you for Hunter and Ryan for coming up. Both of those guys made top 8. Hunter, always a fantastic player, always a fantastic sport. I love just pretending that I'm giving him tote bags and play mats because he has a pile of each one. He's like, oh, goody. Another one. But thanks for listening as always, guys. Like I said, they're getting ready to kick us out of this store, so it's a little short. I'm really stretching it to the 40-minute mark, so we've got another 50 seconds of rambling. But that's what I want to do. So don't play me off yet, keyboard cat. Anybody want to say anything before we go? Anybody shameless plug? Anything? I want to get this to an even 40.
Piggyback on you guys saying on how Danny, gives you guys a run for your money on matches. I mean, last time when I played him down in North Carolina, I thought I had the game, and he just flipped the corner on me, and it was rough, and he got me beat. The qualifier where Adam got it, I played him in top 4, and it was a top 4. I played him in top 8 my first round, and I got the first match pretty one-sided, and then second match one-sided in his favor, and then the third one we just grinded it out, and he wound up taking it from me. And then today too, he killed me in Swiss, but he got the first one, and then I had the other two where it was not an easy match. I had to grind for him, so he's definitely got the competitive.
So you're saying you got the last laugh today, huh?
I did today. I did. But
hard.
But not in the last 4 times or 3 times we played. He's came out on top.
Oh yeah,
so I had to finally get one.
Absolutely. Danny's gotten the best of me too, so don't feel bad. But here's the thing: there's no shame in losing to not only a player who has proven himself, but just you're a class act human being, and B, you make really smart decisions with your play. The only thing today I saw that you did that I would regret, when you discarded a Papalemo to play a Papalemo. I was like, that's going to come back to bite him. Sure enough, it did.
Yeah. What game was that one?
It was,
Game 2 against it was it in Swiss or was it?
It was in Swiss actually.
Okay.
Yeah, it was against Colin, I think.
Yeah. It was against Colin. Like, that was huge. Like, if you wouldn't have discarded the Papalemo, you could have gotten in another. Granted, he flipped all those bursts on you, but I felt like pitching the Papalemo to play a Papalemo was a huge misplay.
Yeah, I think. Actually, since we already decided we were going to have to draw anyway.
Oh, there it is.
I wasn't in the.
Sure.
We were just jamming for fun. Honestly, that stresses me out so much.
Oh yeah, it should.
The time I swung, I was looking over, my hand in my heart, and sure, I was like,
that's why I didn't want to play him in top 8. I was just like, I had to play you again?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. But this time I had wall, so I was okay.
Oh yeah, you're fine. Yeah, once you against the X burst deck, you slam wall on the table, and you just you play him. You give the chop signaling passive turn. Go. Yeah, but that's going to wrap it up today, so these guys can go home and we can go home. Thanks for listening as always, guys. Danny, thanks for joining us.
Thank you guys for having me.
Shameless plug, Fredericksburg Turks.
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to Pocket Gaming down in Recursion.
Yeah, big time. Great guys. Great scene.
All right, yeah. I assume that's what Jason called you over to say. All right.
Yes.
Yeah,
shameless. He said shameless. He said they said a shameless plug. Like, just say our channel. And I was like, shameless plug. Fredericksburg Turks.
I think we'll fade out on that one.
Play us off, keyboard cat.
All right.
Love it. Hey everybody, thanks for listening once again to the RVA Returners podcast. If you like this content and you want to hear more, check us out on YouTube at RVA Returners, and make sure you follow us on SoundCloud and check us out on Google Play and iTunes.